Welcome back. This is National Geographic Weekend. I'm Boyd Matson. Periodically, we have talked to J.J. Kelley and Josh Thomas on this show, as they call themselves the Dudes on Media, about their trips in Alaska. Paddled to Seattle, where they built their own kayak, and paddled to Seattle, and then did a bicycle trip across Alaska. They've taken their act on the road. I guess that was sort of on the road, but they've taken it on the road out of the country. They are in India, tracing the Ganges River. And this they're doing on foot, rowboat, cycle, rickshaw, any way they can. I guess begging and hitchhiking. Well, let's find out. JJ joins us on the phone from India. Welcome back to the show, JJ.
Thanks for having us, Boyd. It's a pleasure to talk to you again.
How did you start out? You started out by going to the headwaters of the Ganges and just jumping in the freezing water?
That's where we started. We always like to start things with a shock, and it didn't get much colder than jumping in right after the glacier in Gamuk.
The Ganges is a very important religious river, washing away sins. People go there for healings. Do you feel like your sins were washed away, JJ?
I think I still have a few sins to get rid of, but I feel like at least we've made a start. We've jumped in the river about 4 times from the source to where we are in Varanasi now. And like you said, we've been traveling down the river by any means possible, a mixture of local transport. We've done a rickshaw for about 7 days, and we even bought a rowboat that we paddled to Varanasi for about 10 days. And it's definitely been our most wild adventure yet.
You travel by rickshaw. Does this mean you just sat in the back while another guy pedaled the bike, or did you take over and do the pedaling?
We did all the work along the way. We had one rickshaw for 3 guys. It's me, Josh, and our camera guy, Dave. And every 3 hours we would pass over, and that's what I'm going to do now. Josh, what did you think of the biking trip?
I enjoyed the bike, Boyd, but the traffic was a little crazy in India, so I'm glad to be off it.
JJ and your cameraman were riding in the back, taking it easy while you would pedal, and then you would switch off?
Exactly. I did all the work. The same thing in the rowboat, too.
It's a lot harder to pedal a rickshaw than it is a bike like you did across Alaska.
Yeah, it sure is. It's I think the big thing is just logistics, the language barrier, and India is so foreign to anything we've ever seen before. But the rewards have been huge. Even though we've only been here for under 2 months, we feel like India is becoming a part of us. We know the people, and we're learning the language, and every day is something new.
I have a question about this because India, like everybody that had British rule at one point, they do things backwards. They drive on the wrong side of the road there. And that can be confusing when you get in a car, but I imagine also on a rickshaw, you're looking the wrong way for traffic when you first start out.
We only made that mistake once.
That's all it takes.
One close call is enough to retrain your brain.
Above all else, India is crowded. So can you make good time on a trek along the Ganges?
The one thing is just to let go of your expectations, because you are on Indian time, like you say, and you never know what's going to happen from day to day. And essentially, you just got to roll with the punches and go at India's pace.
Here on National Geographic Weekend, we're talking with Josh Thomas and J.J. Kelley, who are in India, still on their trip tracing the length of the Ganges River by whatever means of local transportation, some of it on foot, some, as we were just talking about, in a rickshaw. I know you jumped in the river. Did you try swimming any of it, or was it just jump in and then get out before you were hit by a passing log or a pile of garbage?
The jump was enough. JJ's actually got a rash forming on his ankle, so I don't think we're going to jump in anymore. I think we're blaming it on the river, but we're not officially sure where it came from.
Yeah, then stay out of the back of the rickshaw with JJ then, would be my advice. And you also have done some in a rowboat. Let me get JJ's version of this. And here's what I want to know from JJ. Who's done most of the rowing in the rowboat?
Well, I'd love to say that I did most of the rowing, but we were pretty fair about doing the rowing. We had a 12-foot rowboat that we took for about 10 days or 400 kilometers down the Ganga, and it had these huge bamboo oars, and none of us had ever done much rowing before. And the boat was so heavy with all of our supplies in it that we had to take turns. About every hour we switched off. And what I've loved about this trip most of all is, like, on a river, you've heard about the big cities, but it's the sinew in between that's been most interesting for us. As most people know, the Ganges River is very polluted. It's one of the most polluted rivers in the world. But we've been seeing dolphins every day. We've been seeing hundreds and hundreds of turtles and more birds than we can count. It's just been spectacular, the people that will come up to us and talk to us, and they're curious about what we're doing. And that's an experience that we've never had before because we've just been totally immersing ourselves. It's been hard. I won't lie about that at all. It's been one of the toughest trips of my life, but the rewards have definitely outweighed the challenges.
Just give us a sense. How long is the distance you're going to try to cover?
We will cover the entire river by any means possible, and the variety of means will take us about 40 days. We try to, like I said, anytime we can put ourselves in a suffering situation under human-powered transport, we're going to opt for that. And the thing is, we haven't known exactly what we were going to adopt as our transport avatar anytime we cashed in one for the other. We've been lucky enough with our very limited Hindi to sell our rickshaw or to sell our rowboat and get a little bit of money back and then pick up the next form of transport. So your guess is as good as mine what we're going to do for the last part of the trip.
And you say 40 days, but what is this in distance?
The actual length of the river is just under 1,500 miles.
1,500 miles, 40 days by any means possible. How much more do you have to go also?
We still have about 600 miles left, and I've been trying to entertain and sell Josh on the idea of maybe a piggyback ride, where I could just ride on his back. And I'd be there, if he needed a snack, I could feed it to him as we walk along. I'm really open-minded to any kind of help that he would need, any kind of support. I would be there wholeheartedly.
That's the footage we want to see. Well, keep us posted on the journey. 600 miles to go, so you're a little over halfway. You're way over halfway in the days on this, so you're going to have to pick up the pace. Josh is going to have to run with you on his back, I think, is what's going to be required.
I think he's up for something like that.
Check in again with us. Let us know how it's going. But so far, an interesting trip. And we look forward to when you bring back pictures and video that we can take a look at.
Thanks, Boyd. It's been a pleasure. And I'll just mention that we have been blogging along the way. If folks want to see the kind of adventures we've been having, it's at blog.dudesonmedia.com.
blog@dudesonmedia.com. Check it out. J.J. Kelley, Josh Thomas, taking their adventures out of the United States now to India, traveling the length of the Ganges by any means possible. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Boyd.